Well, hello everyone. We're off to a bit of a weird start because everything, as always, is let me down with technology. So I don't actually know if everyone on Facebook can actually see me at the moment. I'm just going to pull up my phone and see if anybody else is actually watching out there. So how is everyone? I hope you're all well and keeping yourselves busy. How's the garden going? Everything looking good out there? Let me know in the comments. It's been a busy week here at the Veg Grower Podcast Garden and Allotment. We've been doing quite a bit of work. No, I'm not live on there. What's going on? What is going on? What is going on? Good question. I don't know about on YouTube either, if anybody is out there. I can't even drop that down and see what's going on. It's all going mad. That's all I can say. All going mad. I'll tell you what I do. Bring up YouTube on here and just see if I can see it. We've got two people viewing somewhere, but I don't know where or what is actually happening because nothing is telling me what is happening. Joy of technology. Apparently I am live on YouTube, so that's something at least. I'm just not going live on Facebook for some reason. Never mind, we'll do a we'll do a YouTube only tonight. Steve is out there and he's cooking tea while listening in as normal. All looking good here on YouTube. That's a relief. I don't know why I'm not on Facebook, so if anybody is out there who can let anybody on Facebook know I am on YouTube, that would be really, really useful. So, interesting week, like I say. Weather's came in. Certainly autumn is here now, and it certainly has dropped to quite a cold temperature. We don't mind that too much. We've got a fair amount of jobs that need doing, but we're going to get there in the end. Garden 7 is saying, mate, you're not on Facebook. I was just saying, I don't know what's happened. It's not letting me stream to Facebook for some reason. So I'm going to have to only stream on YouTube. I'm not sure what's going on. Everything's set up like I would normally have it. Anyway, I can't spend too much time fussing about that because I've got a show to do. It's gone 6 o'clock and we want to talk, of course, about gardening. So what has everyone been up to in their own allotments and plots? Today, I've dug up a load of potatoes, a whole row of potatoes. And I've got to say, I was rather pleased with what I had on there. I've got probably a good 5 kilos of, what were the variety? King Edward potatoes, quite a well-known type of potato, which are really good. We've had some for our dinner tonight, some roast potatoes for roast dinner. Really, really nice. Also got some courgettes, some beetroot, some cabbage. Everything's coming together really nicely. Skinny Jean Gardener, hey, that's better. Absolutely, that is better. I'm going to keep my headphones over here. 07307 135 174. The numbers going along the bottom. I've still got the Facebook stream up and it is just not connecting at all. I wonder if that's changed. Anyway, neither here nor there. So what have you been up to in your own allotment and garden? I know somebody out there who is watching has sent me a really good video of what he's been up to in his own allotment and garden. Which one is it? I think it's this one. Let's watch that now.
Good morning, it is the 26th of September 2020 and just having a bit of a coffee break before I go home from the plot. So main jobs for today have been to prep an area down the end to put some overwinter onion sets, which I've yet to purchase, but I shall stick an online order in when I get home today. That end of the plot is going to be onions, overwinter ones. We'll put some shallots in next year and some normal spring sets in as well. So that's made me clear some of the carrots. We've had carrots at home which have been quite small actually, and had quite a hard sort of start. So I've been quite pleased at the plot here that we've had quite a lot of success with carrots, and that's only by chance, because I only sowed them because the slow-up all got eaten, and I thought, well, I might as well stick down a couple of rows of carrots, see what happens. And what happens is we get both Nant, normal orange ones, but also the heritage purple and white and red ones. So I thinned them out a bit. Over the next coming weeks we'll probably pull them all up and either eat or freeze what we've got. I've done lots of hoeing, not a huge amount of weeds coming up now, but bindweed is always there. Turnips and Swedes are coming up and they're established. Swedes are a bit suspect, I think, but we'll see what happens. Sprouts are starting to appear on the stems. I've cleared up a lot of the dead leaves. I've got a little bit of purple sprouting broccoli, which I shall pick. Pulled up a couple of cucumber plants which have now died off, and I picked about 4 or 5 cucumbers off the remaining ones, and there's a couple more already on there. Haven't had much success at all with cucumbers on the plot this year, possibly because of the weather, the cold, the wind, and the great warmth. I was happy to see the peas and the broad beans, which I planted a couple of weeks back, both started to show. I think slugs might have got quite a few of the peas, found a few sort of slugs trails going around, but we see what happens. However, the broad beans are all popped up and they're covered by bottle tops, so hopefully no little mice will get in and chew them up or anything. Apart from that, a lot of tidying up, a lot of hoeing, just clearing leaves, making things look maintained and looked after. Put some wood chip over by the entrance, which was a bit sort of bare, and there's plenty of wood chip still spare on the sites here. Just a nice sunny morning really, so still drinking my coffee. I'll have that, I'll pick a few more bits and pieces, and then I'll tidy up and I'll go home.
So that was Stephen Ticehurst, who we have visited on the allotment a couple of times. Busy on his plot. Quite a small plot he has there, but it's great to see that he's been mostly tidying the bed, getting that autumn tidy up, which I think a lot of us are doing at the moment. And I certainly am. I've spent yesterday tidying up my garden. Well, after buying myself a new coat for working in a garden. Got to keep ourselves warm because it was so cold. And yeah, tidying up the garden, getting rid of all the dead plants, putting all the compost into the old compost, reusing that into beds as a mulch, clearing away a bit of my a corner of my allotment of my garden, where I'm going to be building my new shed, which is going to be my new studio as well, come winter time. So everything's progressing nicely on that, and as we can see from Stephen's video there, not the only one doing it, and I'm guessing there's many of us out there who are also doing that sort of thing at the moment as well, getting nice and tidy. So let me know what you've been up to in your own allotments or garden. You can leave a comment or call on 07307 135 174. So let's have a look at the comments. Stuart Jackson, thankfully, has joined us on YouTube after the calamity of not being able to stream on Facebook as well. I'll be figuring out what's gone on there. He says, "Evening all, I have dug up my old raspberry canes. All I have to do now is buy some new canes." Actually, Stuart, that I've got to do exactly the same. I'm going to go to a nursery that a friend of mine knows the people were there, and see if we can just get a bit more of a good supply of raspberry canes from them. I'm going for the, what do you call, bare rooted, which is great to plant at this time, but they're also quite cheap. Excuse me. Skinny Jean Gardner, Ruddy Facebook. I agree, it is Ruddy Facebook. First time in a year, I think, that it's let me down on there. But hey ho, what can we do? Oh, we have our first caller. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you calling from? Hello. Oh, hang on. That might be better. Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear?
Can you,
I can hear you
can you,
now.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Hello, Rich?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me? What's
I
going
can
on?
really. I'm not
I
only
you
joking.
don't get.
How are
Oh,
you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. And yourself?
Good, mate. I'm good. Technical issues tonight, Al?
Yeah, never let me down going on Facebook, but tonight
Gremlins,
it's just
mate.
not going through.
Gremlins. It's the weather, mate. It's the weather we've been having.
It may be. It may be. I think my internet's playing up a bit as well.
That don't help tricks, does it?
No, no. So for everyone who is watching, this is Lee Connolly, aka Skinny Jean Gardner, on the phone, all the way from
Buh, buh,
Colchester,
buh,
Essex.
buh. When am I gonna get my own theme tune? Whenever I call a Let's Grow a podcast, I should
I,
have the Skinny Jean Gardner theme tune.
I will be doing that once I get some time to make all these things.
Okay, well, wait. Next year it is.
Yeah, probably be something like that.
Mate, this weather has been, I don't know what it's been like down in LA where you are, but it has been a shocker up here in Essex.
It's been certainly very cold, very cold.
It's been windy where you are.
Quite windy over the last few days. Yeah.
Honestly, I've had things blowing over. I thought my tree was going to snap in half. I had a bit of wood on top, quite a bit of wood on top of my garage roof that flew over to next door neighbours. Not
Oh,
been brave enough to go and retrieve it yet. It has been windy.
well, we haven't quite had it that bad, but
No.
it's been strong winds. I mean, I was on another allotment site earlier today, and they've just built a shed, and they expected that to be blown over when they went there.
Yeah, it's not good, man. It's not
No,
been good.
no.
It's not been great gardening weather. I'll be honest with you. Some of my lights fell down. A few of me structure that me grape was growing up. I mean, it's having issues as you well know, having issues to grow as it is.
Yeah.
Now the structure it's meant to grow up is falling. So yeah, not great.
Yeah, but the weather can only get better, I think.
Can only get better. Can mate, that's true.
True. True. I've seen Paul Jordan in the group. He's saying the weather sucks at the moment too. So
That sums
there
it
you
up
go.
pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what? It's autumn. We got to expect a bit of bad weather.
Yeah, but last week I was boiling, and now this week it's this. Like, can't get my head around it. I know it's autumn. I keep forgetting it's autumn, but yeah, mate. When are you building this shed? When's this happening?
Right. Well, as you know, I've got a couple of weeks off work in about 2 weeks' time, and I'm going to
Yep.
start building the framework, the stud work. Then,
Yeah.
once I've cleared the area first, that's the main thing I've got to do. So, going to start then, and then the main build will be carrying on over the winter. The cladding, the roof, the windows,
Crikey.
the doors.
Sounds like a big job, mate. Sounds like a big job.
It's going to be a big job, but it'll be worth it. Then I can dismantle the shed that really annoys me. So,
Okay. Oh dear, mate. Oh well, we're all looking forward to see that, my friend. We're all looking forward to see it. What's everyone saying in the group tonight? Anyway, what's being said?
right. So, Steve has been mostly tidying the bed in the garden, removing all the dead leaves and sorting out tomato plants, but so windy.
Yeah,
Paul Jordan saying nice video. I guess that's the one from Steve.
that was a
Uh,
good video from
it
Steve. I
was
like
good,
seeing
wasn't
what he
it?
was up to. He's grown
Yeah.
a lot there, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's only got a small plot of land on that allotment as well.
He's really going for it.
Yeah, definitely. But it's worth it. It just goes to show how good it is. How
Yeah,
good.
and also how much you can grow in such a small amount of space.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I heard on the news the other day, or was it on the news? Oh no, it was a discussion I was having with somebody else about
Yeah.
how people have postage stamped sized gardens and can't really grow anything. And I've just gone, well, that's nonsense. You can grow a hell of a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
You can do a lot with even just a 1 meter by 1 meter space, can't you?
Oh,
For
absolutely.
some reason, I'm thinking of if you've got 1 meter by 1 meter space. Imagine if you like made shout like maybe out of a pallet, right? Here's an idea I've just plucked into my head. Out of a pallet and grow on top of pallet, but like maybe 3 pallets on top of each other, like a tower block
Yeah,
of growing.
yeah. I'm sure that could
Would
be
that work?
done.
I'm gonna do that. I think that's a good idea. I've just come up from my head just to prove that you can grow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard of square foot gardening, where you make that metre square into smaller sections
Mm.
to and grow certain crops in that each little small bit. It's quite intensive, and you've got to be really well organised. But people who can do it seem to be able to produce a lot of food in a small space.
You have to be well organised because you have to know what you're gonna plant up when, and when space is going to become free.
Yes, yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. As soon as there's a space free, you throw more stuff in.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense. Yeah.
I've tried
A
it,
lot of
but
organisation involved in that, man. I don't know if I can handle that amount of organisation.
no, I agree. I agree. I tried it once, but I just couldn't keep up with it because I just did not have the organisation skills. But I think if that is all I had to concentrate on, that was my only bit of growing space, it probably would have
You'd
worked.
be all over it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It'd be easy to handle then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It's a good experiment.
Definitely. Kimmy's Kitchen Garden saying hello. And Stuart Jackson is saying it's a lovely day with me today. Just cold. My ground is very dry.
Well, no issues here for dry ground, I'll tell you that.
No, neither here. Neither here. We've actually had quite a bit of rain this week as well.
Yeah, which can only mean one thing, mate.
Yeah.
The water butt will be full.
The water butt will be full. All 20 of them.
Oh, you'll be sorted, won't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Good.
But anyway, mate, I just thought I'd ring in, say happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, dude.
Great
You're live
show.
tomorrow at 8?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you want to come over there and check that out, it's pretty good. I'll be back at 8.
Cool.
Good week coming up on there. You're coming up on the... Oh, you're coming... Oh, I might ask you that. I might as well ask you now. On Wednesday, are you going to come on the International Gardening Podcast show?
Yeah. I might as well help you all out a bit.
What? It's International Podcast Day on Wednesday, mate.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
So everyone should go and listen. I'm sure everyone does listen to the podcast because it's always a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Cheers, man.
Cheers,
Have
mate.
a great show.
Have a good one. Cheers, dude. Take care. Bye. So, lovely day with, I've said about Stuart Jackson comment, and Kevin Rambles has joined. I'm glad Kevin's out there because we've got a video starring him coming up in just a bit. And he's been waiting for you to start on Facebook, LOL. I had trouble with, everyone's heard this at the beginning, had trouble for some reason. I couldn't get on Facebook tonight. I don't know why, but I'll play around and figure it out for next week. And Grow Your Own Kitchen has joined. Hey up podcast, how's we all doing? All right, we're all doing rather well. And I'm asking, what has everyone been up to in their own allotment and garden? Now, I mentioned that we have Kevin in the Kevin's Rambles in the group, and I went and took a trip to his allotment today, and I made a little video. Here he is, Kevin. Found your allotment at last.
Hello, Richard.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, good. So this is your new allotment.
It is, yes.
Let's come over here so people can see us on the camera. So, what made you take on an allotment?
It was during lockdown.
Yeah.
I've been walking past these allotments and I got talking to some of the chaps here. And I thought, you know what? I want to grow my own stuff. But my father, my grandparents always used to grow their own crops, and I didn't learn much from them.
Right.
But I want to learn to grow stuff. And this plot became available, and I thought, let's give it a go. But I've got my friend Cynthia, who's hiding in the shed.
There she is.
And Cynthia's a very keen gardener and offered to come in and help me out. So
Awesome.
That's what I've been doing over the last sort of 3 weekends.
Yeah.
I constructed a bit of a ramshackle shed.
All right. That you told me that shed's made out of two different
Two
sheds.
different size sheds.
And these were all found on site.
Yes, they were sort of offered to us by other allotment holders. So the first weekend it was sort of sizing up everything that was there, but they were both two different sizes, and I've constructed that from it. It's at the end of the day, it's in a shed on an allotment.
Yeah.
And there's going to be nothing of value in there. It's just going to be hand tools that we need here, old tools, nothing new, and we can just leave them in there. We haven't got to keep carting them about.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And start with a shed, somewhere you can leave the tools, because I always think cart tools to and from an allotment.
Exactly.
Just leave them on there, and if you need anything else, you can always run home and get it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm up from in a car. I'm only 5 minutes away from where I live. So.
Right, nice
Yeah.
and local.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, I've got to say, this soil here looks absolutely amazing, and I can see you've just started digging your trench out.
Yes, I have.
That soil crumbled quite easily by the looks of it.
It's very, very easy. Very easy. Very lucky. This had been worked for about 4 or 5 years by another man, and it's very successful crops. But it's just working out where we want to put things, and we want to do it ourselves rather than what we've done.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the other thing I've also noticed, you don't have a huge amount of weeds either, which is a blessing in itself.
I hate weeds.
There was a big sheet over. He'd covered the bed with a plastic sheet.
Some sort
Right.
of a plastic
presumably
sheet.
to
Yeah.
try and keep the weeds down.
Yeah.
The area he had using, but I believe he recently pulled the crops out of him. Did kept weeding at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are lucky.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
lucky.
yeah. So you're already off to a great start. You've also got some crops already in here. Got a row of leeks,
A row of
just
leeks
down that end.
which the gentleman very kindly left behind for us. So
and you've already eaten some.
I have. Last weekend on my Sunday lunch, and it was absolutely lovely.
And you've also got what looks like some raspberry canes and even some asparagus. Which
Yes, again, they were already here, but they were down near
Yeah, they've been
where the shed was,
Dug up and healed in. So
and
I'm
we've
hoping
moved them
they'll
up to
survive.
here. Whether we are hopefully they'll survive, and we'll be able to use them ourselves.
sure they will. I'm
Yeah.
sure they will. So, what are your plans? I mean, it's quite a small plot, so you're not going to be able to grow everything you're going to want to eat. But what are your plans?
Well, sort of traditional stuff, really.
There'll be runner beans, which
Runner
is
beans.
what the trench is for.
Right.
Garlic,
Just stand back a bit.
leeks,
Yep, let's see there.
carrots. What else do we want? Strawberries, because you've got some strawberry.
There's strawberries
plants
already in here,
Yeah.
which is great.
And tomatoes, which you suggested. So
Yeah.
that would be good.
Yeah. And then root crops this end.
Root crops. Yeah.
Yeah,
Carrots and
you're
parsnips,
talking to you. That's another reason why you're here, Richard. You're
Main reason.
you're an expert.
Well, debatable. So, great stuff. I mean, you've taken this on at the right time, I'm going to say, because it's coming
Yeah,
into
we were
winter.
Really hoping it would come free about
Yes.
this time, aren't
Yeah,
we?
that's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it sounds like you're already looking forward and planning ahead, and also working quite hard to get it going.
Well, the idea was, let's get the shed sorted out. Let's try and get everything tidied up, the footpaths cleaned up for the first couple of weekends, and then we can really start getting into the proper gardening side of it.
Yeah.
So we've been talking to other allotment holders, and obviously been talking to you of things that we want to try and do, sort of manures and everything to use. So from this point on now, it's getting everything in place and working it,
Yeah.
and try and get a crop or some crops in for the winter months.
Yeah. Yeah. Which can be easily done. Plenty of cabbages and cauliflowers that can go in.
Yeah.
Luckily, we've got garden centres near us, so we can all go and
Exactly.
find.
Yeah, we've got a
find
couple
out.
just down the road. So one is a proper garden centre. One is actually I can't remember what it's of the crops that you need for the garden, like the ready
Like a
grown
nursery,
plants, like a
rather-
nursery.
Right, yeah.
That's the word I was
Yeah,
thinking of.
that's
The
it.
nursery.
Yeah.
A nursery rather than
Nursery.
a
So
garden
we're
centre.
lucky. Within
You've got a choice.
5 minutes drive, we've got them both here.
Yeah.
So we're lucky.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for having me today. Now I'm going
That's
to
all right.
put this out to everyone watching. If they've got any advice, tips, or suggestions they want to let Kevin know, then throw it in the
Yeah,
comments.
please do.
Yeah,
I'm a real novice at this, real novice. So any help you can give me, that'd be great.
definitely need advice.
There we go.
Yeah.
Right, back to the digging.
Yeah. Thanks very
I'll go
much.
this way.
Cheers.
See ya.
So there we go. That was Kevin Rambles, brand new allotment. And I've got to say, that soil absolutely blew me away with how good it looks. Don't know if you could tell in that photo, but it just looks so nice, dark, crumbly. Just the soil really, great for vegetable gardening, unlike my horrible clay soil that I have here in Littlehampton. So, as I said during that, I didn't actually mention the size of Kevin's allotment. It's 3.5 rods, which I work out to be about a third of a plot. So quite a small little garden. But I do think, you know what, it's worth making the most of that small space. And that seems to be a theme we are discussing today, as well as new allotmenteers, new vegetable gardeners. So what are your tips that you would hand on to Kevin? He is watching in the group, so he will take it all on board. So let's have a quick look at the comments, which are only on YouTube. I have to admit, I had a phone call during that time from Sean James Cameron. I'm wondering where I was on Facebook, but for some reason, technical troubles tonight. Right. Paul Jordan, my connection is laggy. I think it's my connection that's laggy, actually. Frankenshed. That's definitely a word for that shed. But I tell you what, I couldn't tell it was made from 2 different sheds when I was there. It just looked like a normal shed. Stuart Jackson, nice jacket, Richard. Well, I had to go and buy myself a new jacket, especially for garden. I like it. Mountain Warehouse. Quite nice and warm as well. Skinny Jean Gardener is 5 minutes behind everyone else. Nothing new there then. Always best idea to get a shed up somewhere to have a brew. I totally agree. I always think that the shed is one of the most important pieces of kit you can have on an allotment, if you are allowed them. Somewhere you can sit down and have a brew and think about your actions. Somewhere you can get out the wet weather when it rains. And also, what else is it? Somewhere to store tools. I think there's nothing more annoying than having to leave your tools or take your tools home every time, because if you just want to run to the allotment and quickly do something and you forget to take that tool, be it a spade or a fork, it's nothing more annoying than not having it there and to hand. My shed is absolutely full of tools at the moment, to be fair. Paul Jordan is saying it looks great, mate. It really does. I'm really impressed with how good that allotment site works. Skinny Jean Gardener needs a jacket like mine, Rick. Head to Mountain Warehouse. It's nice and warm. I don't know if it will last a long time, but even if it lasts a season, that's good enough. Stuart Jackson, watch all Richard's old videos. And what's your favourite brew in your shed from Skinny Jean Gardener? Well, I'm a coffee drinker, hence what I'm drinking right now. I'm a coffee drinker, so don't really drink tea, if I'm honest. So, but I drink what is it? Millicano coffee is the one I like. Lovely. Best advice I can give is something Mr. Cameron himself used to say, which is do a little and do it often. Yeah, that is actually really good advice. I think it certainly works. You do the odd bit of weeding, but do it regularly. So you might go down the allotment every day for, what did I come up with? 15 minutes during the summer. On the way home from work, I would just go down the allotment, 15 minutes, and do some weeding. Next day, exactly the same. And it really does work at keeping on top of the weeds and just keeping the job in hand. Obviously, weekend I would spend more time on the allotment, but during the week it's not so easy to get out to the allotment and do as much work as I would like. And Stuart Jackson has used the Veg Ground Podcast spade today that he won throughout the podcast competition that we ran. Was it July? I think it was July, the last month, that we had the Friday night Veg Gardening Pub quiz. A lot of fun we had with that, but it paid off. Right. I've got a news article to discuss. Where is the jingle? So this news article is a bit self-indulgent, but it's one that was sent to me, and it's from Thompson and Morgan and their own blog writers, and it's called Blogs to Inspire You to Grow Your Own. Basically, what this I have added a link in the description if you want to check it out. This is been revamped. They've done one about 3 years, but they've gone through it again and added new people and got rid of some others. And they've gone through and mentioned several blog writers out there who are writing blogs to inspire you to grow your own. So firstly, we've got the Unconventional Gardener. And it's, if you're wondering about the simplest thing to grow, you need to check out the Unconventional Gardener. In episode 1 of our new podcast, host Emma gives you the lowdown on a NASA project to grow radishes on the moon. If radishes will grow in space, then your windowsill, balcony, planter, patio container or veg patch are likely to produce successful results too. Now, the Unconventional Gardener is a freelance science writer and ethnobotanist. That's a lot of words there in that job description. And Emma loves to grow food for the table and is fascinated by hydroponics and other high-tech ways of feeding people. So I really like that little brief, because that's something I am all about as well. Next we have Claire's Allotment, who's another YouTuber who I used to watch. She was one of the first YouTubers, I believe, for the Allotment Life. I used to watch her all the time when I used to watch a lot of channels. And in her little piece, it says, you know when your onions are ready when the stems fall over, says Claire of Claire's Allotment. She also mentions that if you're planning to store your harvest for later use, it's vital to dry it. She suggests laying your onions out in a garage or shed for between 4 and 6 weeks. A great source of interest and inspiration, so please check out Claire's monthly allotment updates. The next person is somebody called the Veg Grower Podcast. If you like to know what seeds you can sow in autumn, Richard of the Veg Grower Podcast has just left the advice you're looking for. In fact, rather than thinking of September as the end of a gardening year, he thinks of it as the beginning, and the ideal time to plant cabbages, onion sets, pea and some green manures. Richard's podcast is a wonderful garden diary which provides plenty of food for thought. Living in West Sussex, Richard's local climate, blah, 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 blah. Basically, I don't need to go into that. Blackberry Garden. Most garden bloggers write about their gardens and allotments, but at the Blackberry Garden, blogger Alison occasionally writes to her garden, as well as which she adds a lovely reflective tone to things. On a more practical note, you also love this blog because Alison brings you lots of garden updates, reports on garden visits, and also writes excellent book reviews. Mandy, can you dig it? This October, you should think about sowing broad beans in pots in a cold greenhouse, says Mandy at Mandy, can you dig it? It's not easy to pronounce that. In fact, if you're new to gardening or keen to sharpen your horticultural skills, Mandy's excellent jobs section provides a very handy month-by-month guide to the garden tasks that you need for your attention. Now, she's another freelance journalist. There seems to be a lot of freelance journalists in this whole blog writing thing at the moment. Next, I think this is, no, it's not the last one. We got Life on Pig Row. Do your potatoes have blight? It's not your fault, says Andrew of Life on Pig Row. In fact, if you water the soil and your potatoes have flowered, there's a good chance that you may have a crop. Next, Bramble Garden. Eating a peach or nectarine that has been allowed to ripen naturally on a tree is a delight, says Karen at Bramble Garden. Now, I'm paraphrasing a lot of these because it's easier to, rather than reading a lot of them out. But that was 6 bloggers worthy of checking out from Thompson and Morgan. Okay, so back on the comments. After you left, Richard, this is from Kevin's Rambles. I finished the smallest seating area outside the door and Cynthia used the plot for the strawberries. Fantastic. So what Kevin's talking about there is that I noticed outside the shed, just outside the door, there's a nice area to put some seats and have a nice sit down and look out across the garden and decide what to do.
But there was also a rather large strawberry plot or herb plot that they had some strawberries in the ground, but I actually thought they might go better in that plot in order to take up less space and have more room for growing stuff on the actual ground itself. And that's obviously what they did after I left. Next, grow your own kitchen garden. Who is this Richard guy? Seems to know a few things. Yeah. Don't know. I don't know. Cynthia's camera. Was good to see you today, Richard. Thanks for the advice and you're welcome. Welcome. Stuart Jackson. I was looking for raspberry canes today. How many do I need for a family of 4? T and MD. Oh, T and M want about £6 each. Is this good? Right, Stuart. That is actually something worthy of talking about. Now, I prefer, and I don't know if they're available just yet, but I prefer when it comes to raspberry canes to buy them bare rooted. Now, what that is that basically they have no roots on them. So they're only available around late autumn, possibly into early winter. And they're easier to ship. They don't have any compost around them. And you have to get them straight in the ground, which is why they're only available when they're dormant. The reason that I like them is that I seem to have quite a bit more success in establishing them, because while they're dormant and we get them in around, like I say, around this time, they're going to pop their roots out to try and establish themselves rather than trying to grow above the ground. They're putting those roots down now when they're doing nothing above the ground. And what that would then mean is that next year they've got their roots in, they can then suddenly shoot off into growth. The other reason that I like bare rooted fruit canes when I have to buy them is that they are incredibly cheap. And I'm talking, you can probably pick them about 5 canes up for £5. I will be discussing this on the main podcast, the audio podcast, at a later date. Hopefully when I go and visit somewhere that actually sells them, because I do want some for myself in my own garden. So listen out for that, Stuart. But I'm trying to think of some places that do it. Off the top of my head, I can think Ashbridge Nurseries are one that will do bare rooted raspberry canes, and Victoriana. Let's have a quick look at Ashbridge Nurseries. I don't know if there's a way I can share the screen with you guys to. There we go. ashbridgetrees.co.uk. Bare rooted. Let's have a look and see what it brings up. So, raspberry autumn bliss from £2.15, including VAT. So there you go. That's already cheaper than the ones that you were on about. Now, in fact, if you buy over 100, which I very much doubt you will, but if you buy over 100, they're down at £1.15. So that's somewhere I would say to look at, Stuart. Bare rooted. Now, Steve is saying, I like reading veg growing blogs in the morning with a coffee. Good start to the day and less depressing than reading the news, especially at the moment. The news is just so depressing, isn't it? So, yeah, definitely check out those blogs. I have added a link in the description if that helps. Grow your own kitchen garden. I'm getting some bare root delivered from growseed.co.uk in the next week. Think they're just over £1 per plant and they come by the dozen. So that's another place to look, Stuart. growseed.co.uk. I can't remember who I'm going to myself, but I will certainly remind everyone nearer the time when that happens. Right, I've got a few photos that have been posted in the group. Let's have a look at those. No, not that one. That's not the one. Where is it? Hang on. It's time to look at some more photos that I have received. Now, firstly, Stuart Jackson is saying every day is a school day.
he will pot a cane up against his sweet corn next year as the wind got the better of this one. Well, personally, I don't think a cane is going to help. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And staying with Stuart Jackson, he has been harvesting blackberries from the backfield, which I presume to be the backfield from the school that he teaches in. He has also been harvesting some beetroot from his garden. Now, Stuart has been a real success this year, just got into vegetable gardening, and he is producing food like this. Now next, Stuart Reynolds has posted in the group, and this time he is saying happiness is sunrise over the allotment. And just look at how beautiful that looks in the sunlight of the morning. I've got to admit, I'm not a morning person, so I struggle to get up at this time. Continuing with Stuart Reynolds, he is saying his rhubarb is also loving the rain, and I've actually noticed that a lot of rhubarb has really shown a lot of growth over this last week. And that is evident in this photo that he has shared with us. He has also got quite a collection of apples that are ready for harvesting and doing really well on his apple tree. I'm not sure of what variety they are, but they certainly look very, very tasty. Now, Stephen Tysus, the shutterbug, he has been taking photos of his purple carrots, and he says they have done much better in the garden compared to his allotment. Now, he also goes on to say he loves the allotment in the autumn. Everything seems to be slowing down, but he's catching up on quite a few jobs. And things such as the bull beans, as in this photo, which are doing really, really well and have germinated quite quickly, he is really pleased with how this autumn is turning out. Well, that is it for this collection of photos for this week. If you want to share your photos, then join the Veg Grower Podcast Facebook group and post them in there. Or you can email me, richard@veggrowerpodcast.co.uk, or you can post them on the forum at veggrowerpodcast.co.uk. We'll be back next time with some more photos. So there we go, all photos from our Facebook group, which unfortunately I can't share to Facebook at the moment. Never mind, I think most of the people who are watching have posted their photos in the group. Please, please, please keep posting in the group, or posting those photos in the Facebook group, or you can email me, like I say. I do love seeing those photos and seeing what everyone else is up to. It gives me a great chance to be a bit nosy at everyone else's amazing gardens and vegetable patches. So that I've gone through all the videos that were sent to me today. Also, don't forget, if you want to send your videos to me, that's also easily possible. Via WeTransfer is the easiest way to do it. I'll go into that in a bit more detail later on. Right, I'm just trying to see if anything else is going on. No, nothing on Facebook. Absolutely nothing going on over there, so God knows what's going on. I gotta say, technology is a pain in the bottom when it doesn't work and you rely on it as much as we do these days. Right, so we've been discussing quite a bit tonight about new gardeners, new allotments, and what tips we would share with new gardeners and new allotmenteers. I think my biggest tip, and I don't know if anybody else out there will agree with it, my biggest tip has got to be that you've got to enjoy your gardening. And so don't worry if everything's not perfect or if nothing looks right. You learn from it. Just don't panic. Just enjoy it. And even if that means taking a seat every now and then and sitting down and enjoying it, there's no point slogging. Oh, it might be a bit too early to use words like that. But it's bats off to create a garden that you're not going to enjoy. Right, a few comments. Eugene Garner, he will send some photos next week. I look forward to those because he's very, very good with his. Stuart Jackson, should I put my lemongrass in the greenhouse now as it's getting cold? Well, I believe, and I had lemongrass grown outside, I believe it can survive outside. But that's where I am down here on the south coast. And you're a bit further north. And I think, and Stuart's a bit further north, I should say. And I believe you probably get some bit harsher weather than what I get down here. I'm literally 10-minute walk from the sea, so we get a warming effect from the sea here. So I know I can keep lemongrass outside all year round. But it wouldn't do any harm to go in a greenhouse and just protect it a little bit more. So I would say definitely, especially if it's your only plant and especially if they are quite young. If I remember right, you've grown these from seed this year. And they were looking last time I saw them. Lemongrass is something that I used to grow a lot of and don't use it so much now because my wife can't stand the taste of lemongrass, and I would use it in Thai green curry specifically. I used to love Thai green curry. Unfortunately, because Amanda doesn't like lemongrass, couldn't use it in that anymore. A little bit annoying, but these things happen. So yeah, that's what I would say with that. And trying to think, what have I got a book handy that might suggest what else about lemongrass, but I haven't because I've moved all my books out of here now. Yeah, right. What have we got? About 9 minutes to go. Another question. Actually, this reminds me. Another question I wanted to ask everyone. What manures do you use on your allotments and gardens? The reason I'm asking about this is that I saw down on the allotment today we had a fresh delivery of horse manure. But it's not the well-rotted stuff. It's going to take a while to rot down and really be usable. But also on the audio podcast on Monday, I've been researching into all the different types of manures that we can use on our gardens. I've mostly used horse manure. And that's purely because it's easily available and easy to find and get hold of. Of course, I've been using chicken manure a lot more, but that mostly goes into the compost and then is broken down inside my compost. There are many other manures that we could use if they are available. And I've just seen Grow Your Own Kitchen Garden. He uses alpaca because I'm guessing that the alpaca is easily available for you. And that's why you use it. That's certainly something, I've not used it myself, but certainly something I think if I could get hold of, I would certainly give it a try. Somebody else on my allotment site uses cow manure, and that seems to be quite successful. I've never used it again myself, but it certainly seems to have worked for his allotment. He gets a delivery once every 3 years and just throws it all over the allotment and leaves it to work over the winter. I try and use quail manure, but that's pretty a cool manure, so it doesn't burn the plants, so it can go straight on. But that's pretty small quantities. The main reason I use quail manure is because obviously I keep quails as well as chickens. So Lee is saying I want to get some alpaca, or I'm going to try and get a lot of elephant, but not paying a $5 for a paint can worth. Yeah, I've heard that the manure from zoos such as elephant or lion, although I thought they weren't trying to, I believe they weren't selling lion manure anymore. It can be, I mean, £5 for a paint can, that's what, 25 litres, I suppose. That's not going to go very far, is it? Alpaca certainly seems to be a popular one to try. Horse manure would be easier, but alpaca is better in my opinion. Now that's interesting because I know a lot of people have said that they find different manures have different advantages. I know some can be warm, some can be cold. I mean, I just find horse manure easily available, which is why I tend to use it more. Steve has always used spent mushroom compost for years, but having trouble finding it at the moment, using rotted down horse manure from a local field at the moment. Yeah, I mean, I've got a mushroom factory, mushroom growing area near me, so I can probably get some mushroom compost from there. But because I have a mushroom allergy, I don't want to chance it and see and make myself ill using mushroom compost. Grow Your Own Kitchen Garden says he uses alpaca because it's a cool manure as well. So that what I mean by a cool manure. So horse manure, and the reason we leave it to rot down is because it can be hot and therefore burn our plants. So we want it to rot down so as not to damage our plants. So reading that, alpaca doesn't need so much time to be rotted down, so we can throw it straight on at the first chance that we get. Stuart Jackson uses chicken pellets. Is that enough, or do I need others? Well, that's an interesting thing, because actually on Kevin's allotment, his neighbour brought along a can of chicken manure pellets and said that that's all he used. Chicken manure pellets are pretty good. I use them on the allotment, but I find them more as like a fertiliser, a feed, whereas I feel we're putting manure into our beds to build the organic matter. I think I've said time and time again, I'm on a clay soil, so I need organic matter to really make that soil better for me to use, and that's why I tend to use manure. In Kevin's allotment case, that soil was so good it probably doesn't need any manure, probably more compost, and chicken pellets will probably be really good enough for that. Rachel Jane's allotment, lovely to see you, is using rabbit poo. Now, my neighbours have rabbits. I keep meaning to ask them to keep for me to have when they clean out their rabbits, and I throw it in my compost heap and see if that does any good. I believe rabbit poo is also quite a cool compost too. Grow Your Own Kitchen Garden. I always thought meat-eating manure wasn't good. I thought that too, actually. I believed things like manure from lions and tigers was banned because they eat meat, and therefore there could be pathogens within their manure that could then affect us and our health, which is why we were put off from using it. Well, we've got a couple minutes to go, but there is just time if you want to call in on 07307 135 174. Be great to have a last phone call for the evening just to finish the night off. Now, this week on the audio podcast, we have got, what have I got? As I said, going to be talking about manures. Got the diary update for this last week. What else have I got lined up? Oh, last week we had a discussion about soil testing kits and testing our soil after the company that have published a news report saying we should be testing our soils. I've been in touch, and they're coming on the podcast in a few weeks' time as an interview. We're going to find out more about why they say we should be testing our soils, and I want to find out really why do they feel we should be doing it, and why don't anybody really seem to do it. We discussed that quite a bit last week in quite some detail, and I thought it was really quite an interesting subject, something that I've never bothered other than testing the pH of my soil. But they're convinced, especially if you've got new land or land that has been contaminated in the past, they are convinced that we should be testing our soil. We'll find out more about that in a future podcast. Right, I think, what's the time? We got 1 minute to 8. And after all the dilemmas that we had going on today, I'm going to start closing up. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. And it's been a lovely chat, as always. Lovely discussion, and great to see where we're going. Thank you so much for all the photos that have been sent in and everything else. And for the videos, thank you to Steve for the videos. Thank you to Kevin for letting me come down to his allotment today. And thank you to Lee for the phone call. Thank you to Stuart and Stephen for the photos. And more importantly, thank you to everyone out there for the comments and the discussion. We'll be back again next Sunday at 6, hopefully on Facebook as well as YouTube. If it all works, and hopefully I can fix my internet connection and figure out just what's happening that's made it so laggy. So until then, please take care. I'll see you all again next time.
If I can find the closing button, that is. Where's the mouse gone? There.